Today we're going to talk about the most controversial and misunderstood Corvette that they build, Corvette ERAY. Hi, my name is Jeff Hewitt. I'm the general manager here at Cullen Motors. And today we're talking about ERAY. The test vehicle that we have today is a 2025 2LT convertible. You can see it's in this beautiful, and I do mean beautiful, Seawolf gray. I hope the camera can pick up everything that this paint job offers. We've offset it with the two-tone top. And typically we equip a car like this with really great features like the front lift, right? I like to black out the exhaust tips, put the content in the car the right way. This one here actually MSRP is at $179,798. Nicely equipped. This is typical of what you should be looking for in an amazing touring vehicle. And I do mean amazing touring vehicle because that's what General Motors was trying to accomplish when they came up with this car. Okay, so we have Stingray and we have Z06. And Z06 is a performer, and soon we have ZR1 coming out. But this car kind of fills out where Grand Sport used to be in the lineup. If we look at the previous generations of Corvettes, this is kind of filling that hole, but with a little more performance. Now keep in mind, when we look at Grand Sport in the past, what we're talking about is a car that took from Stingray, usually the power plant, but took that wide body setup stance of Z06. And so that's what you have in ERAY here, where the car is actually 3.5 inches or so wider than a Stingray. It's got that wide body build, and you can really pick it off. If you're looking down the side of the car at the side scoops, that's where you really get to see it. Come around here to the side, let me show you what this car is really all about. We're gonna get into the horsepower, the power teams, and everything that this car can do. We're gonna get into that for a minute, but the first thing we're gonna look at is down the side of the car here, and there's some things that make this distinctly ERAY. Really easy to pick up on, so when you're looking at a sea of Corvettes and you come into our showroom and we have a sea of Corvettes, you can pick these out pretty quick. First of all, ERAY does a lot more monochromatic sort of right from the factory. You can order Stingray and Z06 to do this as well, but the boomerangs here, you notice that they aren't the typical offset black color. They are body colored to match the rest of the car. It gives that little more of a stealth look. We've opted in for the black 5-star wheels on this car. Those are uniquely ERAY. And if you look inside those wheels, you see the absolutely massive carbon ceramic brake package. That is standard equipment on this car. This is standard only on ERAY. It's optional on Z06. It's not available on Stingray. Really unique package. We'll talk a little bit more about the brakes when we get into some of the pricing on this car, but that's special here. So coming around the back here, you're seeing this is the standard ERAY spoiler. There is an aero kit available for you if you wanted to upgrade, but typically speaking, we're seeing ERAYs are most popular with this type of spoiler on it. The black exhaust tips, like I also mentioned before, and you'll notice that these actual vents here coming out of the rear wheel houses, they're body colored as well. Once again, if you look at Stingray or you look at Z06, those are always black. So when you're getting the Seawolf gray ERAY, this is the way you're getting it. This is really a touring car. I want you to think about what Z06 is. It's basically a street legal race car. Very stiff, lots of power. It's all driven by the rear wheels. This, while it borrows the 6.2, 495 horsepower out of Stingray, of course we have the additional hybrid or electric drive unit on the front wheels. Now this is a hybrid technically because we have two powertrains. We have an electric powertrain running the front wheels, creating about 160 horsepower. And we have 495 horsepower to the back wheels with the gasoline engine. Now it's a hybrid, yes. Does it save you on fuel? No, okay? That's not what it's all about. This is a hybrid for performance, okay? And I want you to think about some of the racing applications we're seeing here. This is to give the car a total combined horsepower of 655, if you can possibly imagine that, 655 horsepower in a touring car with a nicer, more compliant suspension maybe than Z06, but it can still perform. And actually, if you take this car and you look at its time around Nürburgring, compare it to Stingray, compare it to Z06, this one slots right in the middle there. It certainly performs. Let's come around and take a look inside. I'm gonna put the roof down and we'll see what it's all about. Never gets old, does it? We've got the top down and we're gonna get inside and take a look here in a minute, but let me tell you a little bit more about this story about the brake setup. So we do have this massive brake setup, which performs really, really well on the track, but here's a little known secret. It has almost the same power as a Z06, but it weighs about 275 pounds more. It actually weighs about 400 pounds more than Stingray. Obviously, power and weight, all those things go together when it comes to performance. And so when the engineers started looking at the brake package for this car, yes, we want it to stop and perform on the racetrack. That's really important, but the beautiful thing about carbon ceramic brakes is that they're lighter. So we have less weight. And so they were looking to save weight wherever they could in this car, because we did add a big battery to the center here of the vehicle. Let me show you where that is inside the car. Okay, so here we are sitting in the car, and this section of the car right here, we used to call that the drive shaft tunnel. Well, this is a mid-engine sports car, so the engine's back there and it's driving those back wheels. So why do we still have this? Well, because quite frankly, this is where the battery has been hidden. There's a 1.9 kilowatt lithium ion battery that sits right in here. Now, how do we get power into that battery? Because let's dispel myth number one. You don't plug this car in. There is no place, there's no charge port, nothing happens with a plug. Everything that this battery has in it for power gets generated on regenerative braking or slowing down the vehicle. All the power in this battery is generated from the car, from using inertia when slowing the vehicle down and getting into braking. Now there's some advanced generating modes as well. So when you have this car on the track, you can have a regenerative mode, and this is controlled through your dial here. That regenerative mode can assure that you never run out of power. I had an opportunity recently. I was talking with Canadian racing legend Ron Fellows, yes, the Corvette guy, and we were talking E-Ray because guess what? This is actually his personal driver now. He is driving an E-Ray to and from work every day. That's what he uses. This car here is what he's picked to drive, and he was telling me that it's the first time that he's ever heard a Corvette where the front tires were complaining on corner exit, because that's where this car performs. When you're coming through, especially that sort of long carousel type driving course, where you have that long corner, Ron tells me that you can actually get back to the throttle faster than, say, Z06. And you actually feel confident with it because the additional power that you're providing the vehicle is actually heading to the front wheels, helping you pull out of that corner. And that's why this is a great touring machine. So driving around, everyday driving, and you want to challenge that corner a little bit, you want to squeeze that throttle down, pulling out of the corner, you're not going to lose the back end. The traction control system isn't going to kick in. It's just going to pull you out of there and give you a feeling like you've never had before in a Corvette. Okay, so now let's get out. I want to show you a few more things and just talk about some of the myths that we have to dispel here. Let's take a look. Okay, so we've already established that it's not a plug-in hybrid. The hybrid drive unit in this vehicle is not designed to save you fuel. No, it's designed to make you go fast. It's actually designed to give you confidence coming out of the corner. It's designed to help the car accelerate. And by the way, this is the fastest Corvette at 0 to 60 currently available. We don't know what the numbers are going to be on ZR1 yet, but we know that this is 2.5 seconds 0 to 60. Yes, that's slightly faster than the 2.6 seconds that Z06 does, and faster, of course, than Stingray. It's also as quick as Z06 is in the quarter mile, right? And we know that, we can compete with Z06, let's just say, on the racetrack. So let's talk about some numbers again. This is $7,500 less than a Z06. And some people will say, well, geez, that's not a big enough difference for me. Well, let's talk about this brake package. This brake package, which is standard on this car, optional in Z06, is just shy of $10,000, a $9,000 and change brake package. So really, what are we talking about here? We're talking about $17,000 less than a Z06 to get into an E-Ray, option for option, everything being the same. And let's take that a step further. You got to pay tax. Right? We know you got to pay taxes in this country, and this is Canada, so we're going to pay our taxes. So really, we're starting to talk about $22,000, $23,000 difference. That makes this incredible value, absolutely incredible value. And let's dispel another myth. Okay, so we got the frunk. It's a favorite part of Corvettes for people, right? And it's still there. We didn't lose our frunk space either, even though we have a front drive unit propelling this car forward. So we have all the same sort of uses that we used to have. Your plug in there for your battery tender, it's all there, just like every other Corvette that you've come to know and love. So myth number 2 gone. And obviously, I think we've already really dispelled it, but I've actually had customers come in and say, oh, I don't even want to look at that. I don't want an electric vehicle. This is not an EV. 495 naturally aspirated horsepower out of that V8 engine in the back. Sounds like a Corvette, drives like a Corvette. And actually, you know what? When you think about it in comparison to what they did with Grand Sport in the previous gens, this really is the touring machine that I think that everybody was looking for. If my wife would allow it, I'd buy this. I did spec this to suit me. You'll notice that there's a few things in here that are distinctly to my taste. First of all, I love the Seawolf Gray. The TU7 two-tone interior, it's a must-have, especially with the Sky Cool Gray with the black. All in all, the package is the way it should be. Love this car. So here we are, Brian Cullen Motors, 386 Ontario Street in St. Catharines. Make sure you ask about our special YouTube incentive. Even if you're coming in on this, you're going to get your YouTube incentive. We'll take care of you. Thanks.